Ladies and gentlemen, I think that Andrew Cuomo of New York will eventually get impeached. Cuomo says lawmakers will have to impeach him if they want him out of office after top Democrats call for his resignation. The big issue, however, is he's facing his sixth investigation pertaining to allegations against him. 6. So not only is he implicated, not only were his decisions directly responsible for the loss of life. Now, so they tried to blame Trump for 1 year. He's one man who oversees the entire federal government. As president, President Trump couldn't have been blamed for every state's failure, the failures of states. He couldn't have been, or he shouldn't have been blamed. They said, well, he knew. Well, okay, Bob Woodward and then the intelligence community knew also. So you can go on forever with this nonsense. He could have given us information. It's like, well, Cuomo had all the information. You have a virtual monopoly on political thought controlled by Democrats in New York especially, and New Jersey. New York became the epicenter of what's taking place. And Cuomo on March 1st, or what's taken place, Cuomo on March 1st stated, the risk remains low for the people of New York. There's no need for undue anxiety. Then he put infected people in elderly care facilities, and then those companies that ran the facilities got immunity deals. Why did they get immunity deals? Why? Then you have a scandal brewing in Michigan with Whitmer and hush money payments, what they're calling hush money, to a top official simply so he doesn't spill the beans on what happened there. There were also elderly care facilities where people were infected and lost their lives in Michigan. But New York had the worst outcomes in terms of the pandemic and the worst outcomes in terms of worst economic outcomes. You could look at the top 12 highest unemployment rates. Go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics right now. It's within the pinned comment. It's not Trump's fault that the top 12 states are run by Democrats. The 12 highest unemployment rates are run by Democrats. And it's interesting. They say, well, we took back the government. Yeah. You have the smallest majority, one of the smallest majorities in Congress in history, by the way, and you have every conceivable advantage, every possible conceivable advantage, from late night talk shows to Hollywood to Twitter, every social media algorithm. You have intelligence operatives. You have 8 or 9 top Republicans on your side, and you still couldn't get, they have a tiny advantage in the House, which will evaporate quickly in 2022. And it's tied in the Senate. And so you have President Trump growing in popularity, and all they have is social media and Hollywood. That's pretty much it. And then they have their wonderful, they're governing in a manner that isn't even suitable to the left. So they're taking credit like, oh, well, we're going to pass this tremendous stimulus. Okay, well, how is that going to help people who lost their jobs? How is that going to help people in the top 13 highest unemployment rates are all Democratic-run places, states, including D.C. So top 12, no, it's 13 of the top 14, last I checked, including D.C. So they get a stimulus check, which wasn't the amount that they promised, so they lied about that. And so they're taking credit for what? Tanking their state economies and then just giving a check that will pay for what? 1 month? I mean, yeah, you have to, if you tank the economy, you owe people a stimulus check, but hit subscribe to this channel right now. You can go to hagoodman.com to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Federalist, Daily Caller, other publications. You can see my debates. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. We're back on our way to 200,000 subscribers. It's because of you. Only one New York governor has been impeached. Some lawmakers hope Cuomo will be the second. NBC News. Top New York lawmakers. Okay, so you have the sixth. These articles are all before a sixth individual accused Cuomo. So he has 6 people accusing him. He's facing calls from Democrats pertaining to his horrendous decision making. He might raise taxes now, so that's interesting too, because he got billions. Cuomo says tax hike on the table despite billions in relief. So the federal government gave New York billions, and the Empire State will get $23.5 billion from the relief bill. So, and he still wants to tax increases are on the table. Tax increases, but you have damage to repair because you have damage to repair. He causes the damage, and then he says you have damage to repair. It's unclear who the tax. So this is what a fantastic governor. He's going to raise taxes, even though he's getting funding from the stimulus, billions. He'll raise taxes when he's one of the highest unemployment rates in the entire country. That makes a lot of sense. And then, so this is all within the backdrop of, Trump being this mean, horrible person. Well, now you have to contend with what you ask. Be careful what you wish for. You asked for this, Democrats. Now you don't have big bad orange monster to blame all your sorrows and all the tragedies that take place. You can't blame them on him. He's not there anymore. The House passed the American Rescue Plan on Wednesday, which includes $350 billion. So they're so happy this is interesting. You have MSNBC, you have other oh yes, this is a tremendous achievement. It's like, well, you have the majorities in the House and Senate, so it's not really a tremendous achievement. You've tanked your economy, so there was no pushback. The past year they said, science, no more economy. But you could definitely go to Walmart or to Target and you can stay there for 10 hours. But no economy. Experts. And there's no more. They've tanked their economy. At one point it was like Mad Max throughout the country, or I should say throughout Democratic-run states. Republican-run states, look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics and look at the New York Times statistics. The highest number of lives lost. Aggregate number of lives lost are in Democratic-run states. 7 of the top 11 last I checked. And the top 4 highest per capita rates are all in Democratic-run states. And those Democratic-run states have the worst economies. And the top 12 highest unemployment rates are all in Democratic-run states. Top 12 to 14. And so they're patting themselves on the back after they tanked the economy. So they say, look, trust government. You needn't have an economy anymore, science. Then they say, look, see, we're giving you 1 check. Aren't you happy now? This is a tremendous accomplishment. It's like, well, no, the people were still losing their lives. You can't say that things would have been worse had you not engaged in such draconian measures and such heavy-handed measures, because things weren't worse in states that didn't adopt your policies. Florida isn't even within the top 10 in terms of per capita rates. It has one of the highest in terms of aggregate lives lost, but it has 10 million more people than New York and New Jersey. So, and it's not even tops in terms of, aggregate lives lost. That's Democratic-run states. Florida has done a lot better. Ron DeSantis gets no. And then you have a singer. This is interesting. I'm not going to get into it, but you have a banjo player who, I won't even get into the names. You have a banjo player who said something nice about a conservative journalist. He's a conservative. He's not a provocateur. Rolling Stone wrote a headline, provocateur. They can't deal with any opposing viewpoint. Everything's public relations. He's a provocateur. He provokes. This is a man who's been assaulted by so I guess if you've suffered physically, you provoked it, according to the left or to media. So the banjo player for this band says something nice about a conservative, generally conservative journalist, like a legitimate journalist, risks his life to get stories done. And media, goes nuts. People on Twitter calling him, a despot or authoritarian sympathizer, because I'm not going to use the word, but you know the way Twitter is. These people are completely clueless about history, or just, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They live in a world where they think that totalitarians of years past used Twitter. and where Biden, with the crime bill starting mass incarceration and voting alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, and within the past month, by the way, refusing to remove Americans from never-ending quagmires, that's not a despot right there. Anyway, I have to speak in roundabout terms because it's getting even nuttier every day. But then the banjo player, instead of and I understand, I kind of get it. I do understand. This is his livelihood. This is this is the music industry in Hollywood. If you say forget about it. If you say one good thing about Trump, they'll excommunicate you forever, even though 74 million Americans voted for Trump. But if you say one good thing about any conservative, oh my God, you're the most horrible person in the world. And then you have a bunch of imbeciles on Twitter saying, "You see, I told you." It's like, oh my God, wow. You mean there's a musical artist who might be conservative? Oh no, that's horrible. So the banjo player then, and I'm not gonna, I understand it's his livelihood, so I'm not going to but then he apologized. If you're in Hollywood and you're in the music industry, you have talent. He's obviously a talented musician. If they kick him out of the band, he could find work with another band. I know it'd be difficult. I know it'd be very difficult. He could start his own band. I know that it'd be very difficult to do. But I mean, there has to be a moment where people in very high profile situations, or at least in Hollywood and the music industry, stand up and say, "Look, this is what I believe in," or "This is, you're not going to bully me. You're not going to try to shame me for believing in something, or for having a viewpoint shared by literally half the country, 74 million Americans." Now, you say 74 million Americans voted for Trump, it's half the country. That's despite a virtual monopoly of political discourse in this country. You can't enjoy yourself. You can't even enjoy yourself in the evening without hearing how horrible Republicans are and Trump. From Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, or Trevor Noah. And then you have all of Hollywood, all of the music industry. You have SNL, Saturday Night Live, so it would be pretty lucrative if you were in the music industry and you had an opinion that people didn't like. Even if you're a banjo player, stick by your guns and just don't let anyone bully you, and you become a hero of millions. And if you're worried about money at that point, you're in music, you're in entertainment. You know how many people throughout the country will listen to your music now if you or would have listened to your music if you started your own band, if you just stood by your principles, because when you were that level of profile, and When you're in an industry that demands groupthink, and you say, you know what, the heck with this. That's why you had Johnny Rotten, and that's why you would have had Johnny Ramone, and that's why you have a lot of punk icons who have sided with President Trump. You have a lot of legends and icons in athletics, okay, who have sided with President Trump. Anyway, my point, though, is imagine how many millions and millions of people, you could, like, not inspire, but like if you're in the entertainment industry and you're in Hollywood, you're worried about your source of income because you're going to be canceled. You're high profile enough. Like if Rolling Stone's writing about you, you could then turn that into, hey, I believe what I believe because you know what, you've twisted semantics into saying that this person is a despot when he's not, so, or a provocateur when he's not, and so it's like. You could simply stand by the principles that you already have, and millions will flock to you, or support you, or support your next endeavor, or, you know, you can explain to the world, hey, you're allowed to have these viewpoints within this industry that demands groupthink, demands absolute obedience and allegiance. And the knock on this person is, well, he lies a lot. You want to compare what you say that he lies with the average journalist of the Washington Post or the New York Times? It's interesting. It's like, I don't want to get into it. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Sixth, so here's an example. Where's BuzzFeed or anyone else going and finding 36 people who knew Andrew Cuomo? Or no, 36 people who knew Andrew Cuomo and who can corroborate the 6 allegations, or 120 people, 180, over 200 plus people now, who can corroborate the allegations against him. No, you're not going to find that. Madison Caulfield, we found 36 people. They went after Madison Caulfield, 36 people. He's a really horrible driver. But Cuomo, not one story, not one hit piece from any of, from the New York Times, Washington Post, Vanity Fair, Esquire, Rolling Stone, Mother Jones, The Nation, not one hit piece. Where's the investment? Where's the outrage? My God Almighty, where's the outrage when it's a New York governor who's presided over the worst outcomes, who happens to be Democrat? Give me your thoughts below. I'll be back numerous